The first miles of any marathon are a time for runners to get comfortable with their pace and with the other runners. It's also a time to find out how well the course support is going to be. At Grand Rapids, runners are met not only by the rising sun, but by the first of hundreds of enthusiastic volunteers. While most runners settle in amongst others, front runners like early leader Chuck Engle usually run alone and very fast, getting to 3 miles in just over 16 minutes. Marathons are a unique athletic event for many reasons, one of which is the fact that elite runners run with everyone else, and everyone else runs in the same conditions, which this year is almost perfect. And perfect weather means a good time for runners and spectators. With the first few miles out of the way, runners can now begin to think about finding a pace that's comfortable and will allow them to reach their goals. For some, the goal is a specific time, and for others it's simply to finish. Either way, it's still early and it's easy to have fun. By the time the sun had finally risen and was beginning to warm things up, most runners had reached Millennium Park. After a quick loop in the park, runners headed for the banks of the Grand River in the most scenic part of the course. And while those in the full marathon were still getting settled, those in the half marathon were beginning to find their way home. The half marathon is becoming one of the most popular races worldwide, usually run right with the full marathon. In Grand Rapids, the two races split after 8 miles. On their own now, those in the full marathon cross the Grand River and begin a scenic tree-lined journey that will continue for the next 15 miles. It's here that the months of training will pay off, where goals are met. And the volunteers at the Grand Rapids Marathon are there, all along the way, to help make it happen. And when hard work meets good support, it almost always means a great race.
I think I can finish this in a good time. This is my first marathon, so thank everybody from Grand Rapids for all the wonderful work you've done. Thank you for being here. Have a good one. Good running.
Don't we look fresh? Yeah!
Everything's great here at the Grand Rapids Marathon. This is my 4th one, and I'm having a great time. Thanks, Don. I appreciate it, and I'll be back again every year.
Great time. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
And last, for Engle and for those running up front, running is meant to be done hard and competitive, things that are both respected and supported at the Grand Rapids Marathon. For everyone else, victory is a very personal thing, no matter the time, also respected and supported by the Grand Rapids Marathon. Back at the finish line, the last of the half marathoners were beginning their celebration. Finish lines at marathon events might be the most emotional places in all of sports, and the celebration was about to grow.
Yeah, baby! Mr. Chuck Engle,
Finishing in a course record time of 2 hours, 31 minutes and 50 seconds, Chuck Engle had nothing but praise for the event and those who make it happen.
This is by far one of the nicest, flattest, fastest courses. I mean, this is going to get huge. This race is going to get huge. Scenery was fantastic. Crowd support was phenomenal. You know, if we just keep praying and have weather like this was ideal. I mean, the course was perfect. Support was perfect. Don Kern does an awesome job. Grand Rapids got a lot to be proud of. This is an awesome race.
For most runners, 2 hours and 31 minutes means there's a long way yet to go. But there's comfort in knowing that someone, a racing comrade as it were, has finished. The late miles are tough and often introspective and quiet, usually.
How you doing today? All right.
Every year the Grand Rapids Marathon gets more and more people involved. The good events do that. But to make the event even more accessible, a marathon relay was introduced. Teams of 3 to 5 runners were assembled to cover the 26.2-mile race. The relay allows more runners to take part in the marathon experience without actually running a marathon. The bottom line is, more participation, more people running. A better day in Grand Rapids. With just a few miles to go, the course leaves the banks of the Grand River and begins a weave back to downtown Grand Rapids. The runners might be leaving the comfort of the shade and scenic views, but they're never far from the volunteers that line the course in Grand Rapids. And it's course support that helped many runners get through those final miles.
Oh, it's so well organized. I was in Chicago and this one's so much better organized. Don's doing a great job, all the volunteers and staff. Thank you all very much. It's been a lot of fun. Just about 5K to go. See ya!